their players have won multiple majors playing together. JW and Flusha are the game's most decorated names. Olaf and Krims are the best duo in history. Yet, Fnatic have struggled to hit such highs in 2017. Seeking to recapture their powerful play of last year, they rely upon talent and team play to win their rounds. Will CSGO's most legendary core once more battle to a major final? Welcome on stage, Fnatic.
Okay, we're hoping for more coordination during the game, has to be said, but the gents will find their way to their booths eventually. Slightly confusing because it is, of course, opposite the other side of the booth, so they'll get there eventually. I guess we should probably talk about Fnatic in the sense that they have to reach the final here if they want to promote that legacy that they had, with winning 2, winning 3, but it's a difficult road, this top half of the bracket.
Yeah, obviously the stretch of having to go through SK or Astralis is a big deal, but even more so, I mean, just getting there for this team would be huge at this point with everything that they've kind of gone through and all the struggles they've gone through. Just arriving at the finals would be phenomenal. I think it'd be sick if this was like the Fnatic that just for some reason just showed up like the old school Fnatic and just won the whole thing. I think it'd be great, but that next matchup, right? If they do happen to get through this one, that next matchup is going to be tough. That's going to be the roadblock.
Yeah, SK versus Astralis in the same side of the bracket as these two. On the other hand, Gambit have a little bit of a curse to break here, Robin. We all know they come to an end eventually. Is this third time the charm?
I mean, possibly. The way they've been playing, they have all the tools to make it further than quarters, but stopping them might also be a very dangerous Fnatic. A Fnatic that's been just very good throughout this group stages. A Fnatic that we really haven't seen at all this year.
What do you think that is? Magic?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. I think that, I mean, the biggest thing that they were saying, especially with their playstyle, is mostly individual play, and then with that comes you need good communication and you need good teamwork. And we've seen just small little things that Fnatic tends to do, and especially during their prime, just stuff that people aren't necessarily thinking of, and it's like really small things where, an example on Mirage, for example, Offmice comes up a ramp, he shoots once to just lure it was actually Simple, he was luring Simple to watch a ramp, and then Fnatic have two players from Palace just insta-peeking, and then Simple is always watching a ramp. It's just very, very small things. The Fnatic has always been really good at inventing, essentially, and that's what makes them so deadly. And that with that, like I said, comes communication. And so far this tournament, they did say that was their main thing they have to work on. I definitely feel that they've improved drastically on that. Is
the problem also related to the fact that the teams in this kind of maybe 4 down to maybe 25 in the world are much closer than they've ever been before?
Sure.
I mean, in the sense that if you have a bad day, you're going to get beat by most of those teams.
I think we're starting to see more of those teams kind of do upsets in like the BO1s, right? And I think this is a Fnatic that we could have seen for the past 2 months, but I mean, there is a lot of truth to what JW said, where we get a little unlucky in some of the draws that they've had. I mean, they've been unlucky in the sense that they've won the games that they need to win in the past, and like a team like SK will get upset, or a team like Astralis will get upset, and then they end up having to face them to make it out of the groups, or be in some tiebreaker with SK and Envy at EPL finals. So it doesn't always in this system come down to, in some of these group stage systems, it doesn't always come down to how you win. It also matters who else is losing and who you're going to match up with at the end, and they've gotten unfortunate in that sense. So I think this is a Fnatic that we could have seen if they'd made it out of group stage in the past. I think if that pressure was removed a little bit ago, we could have seen like a very, very dangerous Fnatic coming into this major, and I think now we're just finally getting it.
JW's had a good tournament so far, Robin. Important player as ever, but is he the one that you want to see step up on a regular basis? Do you want to see some of the other guys, some of the big guns coming out and firing? We talked about Dennis's prowess in pistol rounds, for instance, but do you want to see more from the rest of the team? I mean,
their best player statistically for all the majors has always been Flusha. So it's Flusha that you're kind of looking into here. Hope that he's going to show up a little bit more in the playoffs. He did have some nice rounds, some nice clutches, and then the guy in the video, Olofmeister, with Scott, best player in the world back in 2015. Yeah. He was just so good individually. Just the fact that it's like, just opens up maps like training. We just run our T connector and you just kill people, and that's kind of like what we compare him to coldzera to this day, right? It's like coldzera is so dominant, and that's exactly what Olofmeister was back in 2015.
Why is he not there now?
It's unrealistic, I think, to imagine that he's going to be able to keep up that level. I mean, the tough thing was he was so good that we even said that this Fnatic team, no matter how much they were winning, no matter what event it was, like the conversation was always like, if Olaf ever just drops off even a little bit, like this team is going to be in trouble. And like we see it when he had the injury, he fell off, and so did Fnatic, and they struggled to get back to that level. But if you weren't watching Counter-Strike in 2015, you missed a treat, because the Olaf even does things that coldzera doesn't do right now. I mean, this is a guy where entire tactics were based on him. Like, think Cobble. When Cobble first came out, teams like didn't really know how to play it. When like in some of the later iterations, and Fnatic just figured out, just send Olaf over to platform, and he's going to get you 2 kills, like pretty much like clockwork every single round. He's going to go, and no one could beat him. No one could outduel him. No one could outthink him in that kind of scenario. I mean, there was even an event Flusha gave a post-game interview after a win, and he's like, yeah, we just gave a timeout, and we just said, Olaf, go kill people for us. Just go win us the game. Like that was their entire conversation during a timeout, and he went and did it. So it's just like this guy. If anyone is going to get back to that level, I think Olaf would be the biggest tree we could have. But obviously, you can't go wrong saying any name on that team.
Yeah, sure. Hearing that we're moving towards the Map Vitosis players getting their final settings together, so we do have a little bit of time to fill in. Robin, it's the ideal opportunity to talk about when you played against these guys. What was it like playing? I mean, it was 2014-15. You had some of those matches against Olaf where he just went absolutely bonkers.
No, he definitely did.
How do you cope with a team when they do stuff like that?
It's really difficult, right? It's just, even if you have you think you might have a really good idea on what they're doing, and one great example is JW, the way that his playstyle is. It's very random. When you watch the game, especially back in the day, you just felt that he played stupid. That was the mindset. It was just like, he plays so stupid.
But he did it with confidence.
But he makes it work.
Right.
Just random push, especially we see he's still notorious from that to this day with pushing, buying Mag 7s, sawed-off shotguns, and just dropping everywhere and just playing really random. And even if you know what's going to happen, it's still extremely hard to play against.
Right.
And when you have that. So if JW plays well, and especially for this tournament, it does open up quite a lot of space, right? For players like Olofmeister. Crims, for me, back in 2015, he was the guy who essentially made this whole the best single player to hold bomb sites, for example, on Inferno. Yeah. Like, just the fact that it's like, that didn't necessarily get a lot of kills, but just the fact that he kept on staying alive, he kept on delaying the push so his teammates could come in and just save him. And that was something that during that era was really difficult to do, mainly because of the overpoweredness of flashes and molotovs. It's like, you can't really play just a solo on a person's side anymore. It was really difficult, and he kind of brought that back.
I can hear a tinge of annoyance in your voice as well, which means that you've suffered at the hands of Crims on bomb sites.
This lineup I've actually never lost to, so I'm quite okay with that. That was the first.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I mean,
did you play this lineup?
Yeah, their first lineup ever in ESL 1 Cologne,
2014.
The major, yeah.
Nice.
Played him in the final, never lost. But I might be very
So you're
correct.
what, 1-0?
But he retired straight afterwards. Mike. Just like, that's it, I'm done. I've
going out
achieved
on top.
Achievement ticked off.
Yeah. No, but they are very hard to play against. I think that when this team is on fire, when this team is communicating well, and their teamwork's on point, they're just extremely deadly. I think they can beat anyone in this tournament.
Got to rekindle that though, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on what Robin kind of spoke about, if you play against, I mean, and this goes with a lot of different players, but whenever you're in a match against someone who's just going off the way that Olaf can, like, you just, it is like mentally exhausting, because you're just like, what can we do? No matter what we call, like, he's going to be somewhere. We have to face him eventually. If we go at him, he's going to kill 2 or 3 of us. If we go away from him, he's going to come in and clutch the round. It just is like this kind of hopeless feeling. And it's funny because you heard some of that talking to Astralis after their SK game. They were just like, yeah, what are we going to do? Coldzera had one of the games where he just got 35 kills. Like, what can you do against that? There's not really much you can do.
No, just get on with it, I guess. I remember Anders commentating on a game with JW back, I think it was 2014 or 15, and he said it was something like, I don't think JW even knows what he's going to do, so how the hell did the other team figure it out?
He's like the master of that, and I mean back in the earlier days before the op nerf, and this is a long time ago, he was just unbeatable in that sense. And this is a team that like has all these good players, but if you look at the way their styles kind of fit together, it's interesting because not a lot of teams can make this work. But you have someone like JW, just that aggressive, always creating space, always finding information, always aggressive, usually getting a kill off of his crazy plays. And then you have someone like Crims who can anchor down those bomb sites, like what Robin talked about, and that leaves guys, like Flusha, like Olaf, like Dennis, to be able to make plays across the map based off that information. They can rely on Crims to make the right decision, stay alive, to get them in better position. They can do so many different things, and it allows them to have the freedom to make the individual plays they like to make, and not a lot of teams can pull that off. It does require a high level of communication. It does require a high level of individual skills, and we've seen teams try and replicate it, and it just doesn't always, it rarely works out the same way that Fnatic have done it in the past.
We talked about Zeus and we talked about Hobbit and Adren. Hobbit and Adren, by the way, both inside the top 10 on HL TV for this for the group stages at least. Yep. And we talked about the legendary status of Zeus as an in-game leader. What about Dozier? He seems to have been around for absolutely ever. I mean, I can't remember going to a tournament where I wasn't talking to him at some point in the future, whether it was 1.6, whether it was Counter-Strike Global Defense. He seems to have been around forever. How is that guy not 40 years old?
Maybe he is.
He might be.
No one knows, actually. No one knows. I remember in the beginning of CSGO when he was playing with his brother, Fox, in the CS scene. A lot of he's been around forever in CSGO and even in the 1.6 before, and I think he's fallen off quite a bit as of late.
He's not the star player he once was.
He's definitely not the star player. Very, very, very slow-paced player. Likes to just stand in one spot and wait.
This was supposed to be a positive section on Dozier.
That's to my point. Because the fact that he likes to wait so much, people lose patience and they run into his crosshair and get kills. And that's great to have.
Well, he's playing in his 6th quarterfinal. How many did you have?
Well, quarterfinals?
Yeah.
I only played 3 majors. I think.
Oh. 3 for 3 though.
I'm 3 for 3. Yep. 3 finals.
3 finals as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's the only player in history to do it. I can't win. I was trying with the stats, but there's no way you can actually beat Fnatic with stats like that. So, he's playing his 6th quarterfinal, so plenty of experience on this side as well. I'm hearing that we're headed towards the veto. You can see the players just getting ready in the lobby. So let's turn our attention to maps in this one, because it's obviously very different for those that were tuning into the group stage. We had this brand new veto format. It did throw a few curveballs here and there. We're pretty much back to what we expect now. It's a best of 3. They're both going to choose their best map, you'd assume, and then we end up somewhere in the middle for the 3rd one.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is going to start being, I think it's a pretty cool curveball that Fnatic have because of how close that nuke game was versus Astralis. Is like now our team's going to be a little bit intimidated or scared of that. Or is Fnatic even, was that map specific to Astralis, or can they bust that map out against other opponents as well? But I mean, right off the bat, you have to imagine Gambit's going to take away Mirage. It's a map that Fnatic loves to play. It's like one of their most played maps. Fnatic, you imagine, is going to take out Kabul, which is like the 2nd best map. Fnatic likes Overpass, so I imagine they'd leave that one in at least until later. The big thing is, Gambit has Overpass and Kabul. Those are like their overwhelmingly 2 best maps you have. And then when you get to the other ones after that, it's Train and Inferno. And Fnatic actually beat them on both of those maps at DreamHack Summer. So you do get a little bit of a risky situation. I think we'll see definitely one of those maps, one of those either Train or Inferno in this series.
Yeah, and it was actually quite funny, that event at DreamHack Summer one. Actually, Nuke was the 3rd map. So even back then. So I don't think we're going to see that necessarily gamble coming in from Fnatic. I really don't think they're going to just be gambling. And even though they played good versus Astralis on Nuke, I think they have a lot of other options, and this is a team that can essentially play every map. So I think coming into it, like Jason was saying, Gambit is really good on certain maps, but and one of them is Cobblestone, but that's Fnatic's permaban. So
the funny thing is, like, both of these teams play like 6 maps, right? At least 6, but like they don't have, like, outside of Overpass and Cobble for Gambit, there's not like any overwhelming favorite map for Fnatic in terms of like their winning percentage, but they do play like all the best teams in the world on some of these maps. So take that with a grain of salt. It's just going to be, I think that nuke thing is going to be a pretty interesting part of this. Gambit hasn't played it since April, so that could be a dangerous map to get him on, but I think if you're Fnatic, you have to take out one of Overpass or Cobble. You can't let both of those maps go into the process.
These lineups this year have only played Inferno or Train whenever they've met.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's quite nice.
Only those maps. The last time they played different maps was actually E-League, which they had slightly different lineups, of course, where they played Dust 2, Overpass, and Cash.
Dust 2.
Good old Dust 2.
How we miss
We're not going to see that now.
Did I raise a little thing that?
Yeah, you've brought the mood down on the Dust, Paul. Camaraderie is at an all-time low.
Damn.
It's all right.
But it's coming back, so it's all good, and it'll be new and brilliant and fun and interesting and
back in the room.
Yes.
Yeah. Fnatic is going to. I would like to see them. I think they should be fine with Train if that goes in. I mean, because you have to think that Mirage isn't going to be available to them. So what would they pick after that? They don't have like great win rates and nothing else necessarily sticks out. But against a team like Gambit, they've already beat them on it. That's kind of where you lure them into a trap, I guess. If your Gambit is just saying, yeah, we know what to do now. Finally, if we've played it so many times this year, surely by now you can come up with a solution to what Fnatic does.
Yeah, and under these lineups, by the way, I love the stairs. Fnatic haven't lost to Gambit this year
at all.
No.
Actually,
with these lineups.
Speaking of it, I would love for Gambit to actually pick Cash.
Would you?
Yeah.
Why?
Just a gamble, like you're saying. They've only played Train Inferno before, and it feels like Fnatic has a pretty good idea on what Gambit likes to do on those maps, even if. And it's maps as well that really puts the strengths of Fnatic's players, especially a map like Train. You have JW, like I said, just pushing randomly everywhere with Max 7s. You have Olofmeister, with you can essentially have the dual op setup if you want. Train is a good map for that. T-connector push. I just feel like it doesn't necessarily fit Gambit too much, or the matchup, I feel like. Whereas for Cash, Gambit played, I think, VP on it earlier to the tournament, and also did Fnatic, and Fnatic was not necessarily looking really great, that good on Cash.
Okay, just checking through their maps, Jason. It's quite interesting, isn't it, with Fnatic, because they've played Overpass, Mirage twice, Nuke, and Cash. Plenty of options.
Yeah.
And so did Gambit look at that and think, well, we've studied all of them, we understand how they play on all these maps, and then actually suddenly they get thrown a completely different map?
That's why I'm thinking that's why I put so much emphasis on the nuke thing. I just want to know if like Fnatic has that prepared just in general, or if it was just for Astralis, because I think that'd be a very cool way to kind of be able to play chicken with different teams in the veto process. Obviously, that's not going to work against an SK or an Astralis if they get there, but against Gambit, you might be able to do it. They haven't, like I said, they haven't played it since April, and it's not exactly a great map for them. So you could throw that in there, but. I think the big thing for Fnatic is because they've got so many maps in their pool that are like all right around the same, like just average win rate, and maps that they're not great on but they can compete on. I think you have to take away just the best maps. I think that's their goal. You're going to get at least one with this veto process, right? You have to be able to take out Overpass or Cobble, and I think Fnatic is just going to be much more confident, obviously, on Overpass. They barely even play Cobble these days.
There was a question I had on social media a couple of days ago, which we didn't manage to get to, which was, why is Inferno so popular at Majors? It is the most played map in history. It's also been the most played map here. Why is that? Explain why.
It's just a very balanced map. I feel like it's always been. It's one of those maps where it's like, especially with this system, it doesn't necessarily matter if you start CT or T side, and that's one thing that you go back to, especially in best of one games, where it's like, well, the veto process works, and you end up picking, and you end up playing whatever side that your opponents pick, right? Whereas for Inferno, it doesn't really matter. You can start T, you can start CT. It's a very well-balanced map. That's why you also, in the early stages of CSGO, you also saw a lot of Dust 2. Mainly for that reason, because do you really want to gamble and do a best of one on Train, for example, start T side, don't get a lot of rounds, or even Nuke? It's a very whereas those are more suitable for best of 3 games.
Yeah, and also I think it even could be a bit simpler than that, in just the sense that it's just a fun map to play. Players like playing on it, and
players like fun.
Yeah, players enjoy having fun.
Amazing. Who would have thought?
Also, if you like, a lot of these players that we have in the professional scene. I mean, we're certainly getting some newer and some younger ones, but a lot of like the older guys, a lot of the guys who have been around for a while, like Inferno has always been a classic map in Counter-Strike. Like you always remember watching like some big tournaments on Inferno, like huge matches on Inferno. So not only is is it fun to play, but there is like that feeling that, if you play Counter-Strike and you've been around for years, you had to have gotten good at playing on Inferno. So, I mean, it's a map that pretty much every player is going to have a pretty decent amount of knowledge on and a pretty comfortable feeling on.
Most played map here at the PGL Major, rather than all time, is actually Train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have expected that one, but we've been seeing it come back. I think a lot of teams are starting to like that as well. It's another one of those maps where I remember when Cobble was like a very popular. I think it was around like MLG Columbus that Cobble was played so much in the group stages, just because it was. It's a map where. We talk about all the time when Cobble comes up is you can't do a whole lot of aggression on the CT side. It is a map that limits that. So if you're going into a group stage and you just want to be safe, Train's another similar map. You can do CT aggression, but for the most part, Ts can just sit back. And if all goes wrong, if they're getting destroyed, if they're down 8-0, if everything's going to hell, you can just sit back for 30 seconds. You can be safe. You can just watch for pushes and then execute something and just pray it works. So there's a little bit of safety in that sense in the group stages.
Yeah, I do remember that. I think the Twitch chat went crazy because they were calling it Counter-Strike Cobble Offensive.
Yeah, everyone was loving the Dragon Lores, right?
Absolutely. They like the drops, that's for sure. I've just sparked Twitch chat, sorry mods. They go mad right now, I can see it. Also, Mirage and Inferno second most. You'd kind of expect that, wouldn't you, with the map pool that we have. But do you think it will switch around now we're into the best of threes? Because playing so much of Train and Inferno, teams will then know how the other teams are playing, so then maybe they want to move away from those.
No, I mean, definitely. And on top of that, you only get one ban in the beginning, right? So we will definitely see a lot more variety, I'd say, in the playoffs compared to what we saw in groups, and especially now as well, where we don't have... I feel like that's why we always had the randomizer first, because then you got a lot more...
You missed the randomizer.
You like the randomizer.
I like the randomizer.
He's a heathen. He likes the randomizer.
I liked it, you know?
Listen, I think we should just get the coin flips back.
Yeah, maybe we can just...
we can start that up again.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. No, but I think we're just going to see a much larger spread here of maps, whereas teams just tend to have one permaban, and that's obviously one that we're not going to see, but everything else I think is just up for grabs.
This is where, now that we're in the playoffs of the major, this is where you bring out all the tricks that you may have worked on that you haven't shown quite yet in the group stage.
Right.
You might have been holding some things back. Maybe not for Fnatic, considering they were in that kind of do or die moment in the last match. It was either qualify or go out, so might as well bring it out then just to make sure. But someone like Gambit, certainly, if they've worked on anything, and also this is where if you've worked on like a hidden map, like a nuke, for instance, that they busted against Astralis. But just as an example, if there's a map that you don't normally play in your pool and you've worked on it specifically for this situation, it's these matches right here. It's the playoff matches, it's the bracket matches that you bust one of those out and you try and confuse or catch your opponents off guard. So I'm expecting some craziness from a couple of the teams in these quarterfinals.
Okay, I want to ask you, as a man who's played in 3 majors, been in the finals of those majors as well, what is it like as a player? Try and explain to the people watching at home who perhaps haven't been to a major, haven't experienced it themselves. What is it like going out on a big stage in front of people like this, trying to block that out, trying to focus on all the things that you've practiced the day before, trying to go through all the things the in-game leader's been telling you, and focusing on what maps you're going to be playing, and trying to actually hit the shots as well? What's it like? What's the pressure like?
No, I mean, definitely pressure, right? That's why I've actually always wanted the players to have like the heart rate monitors that you see during clutches, right? Because it's not necessarily during the clutch that you're going to be nervous. It's right after, right? It's the tension that builds up. It's the adrenaline that builds up. And playing in front of thousands of people, here it's going to be, I think, 15,000. It's just a great feeling overall, right? And
did you get nervous though before you? Did you have like that moment before you went into the booth, or even just before the match, or as soon as the first round starts? When did it happen for you?
You didn't necessarily get nervous per se, even during games. It would obviously be if you're not necessarily playing well, or if it's a match point for the other team, and then you try and then you get a little bit nervous, right? But I think as for everyone else, this is what they do, right? This is what they do on a daily basis.
Sure.
And they
But is it like that at a major? Does it not have a slightly different feel to it?
Listen, when you make 3 finals in a row,
it's just
majors
boring.
just get boring to you, don't they, Robin?
They do. They do.
It's just can we just skip all the games? Just put me in the finals. So,
Did anyone on your team get nervous? Was there anyone in particular? Because you all seem quite chilled all the time.
I think the interesting thing is I know a lot of players get nervous during pistol rounds, like the very first pistol round, and then once the game goes live, they kind of forget about it.
Yeah, because you can zone in then, can't you? You kind of your vision narrows to the screen, and you kind of forget that you're even in a booth, and there's even people there.
Right. And the other crazy thing is winning a clutch. Like if you win a one-on-one and your adrenaline gets pumping, that usually initiates some nerves for like 20 seconds, and you have to calm those down. As the clutch winning is always that got me all the time.
Yeah. Did you have moments like literally where your hands were shaking, so your mouse movement was slightly different, or was it not that excessive?
No, I don't think it ever gets that
there have been
excessive.
some players like that.
Oh, I never had to worry about the shaking hands thing.
No.
Steady.
Steady as she goes.
Steady.
Yep.
Steady as she goes. Yeah.
Robin, were you shaky hand, sweaty palms?
Never.
Any of these things?
I mean, after, like I said,
It's
after
like a
clutches, after clutches, when the adrenaline is pumping, I mean, heck, I could use the timer right afterwards.
No.
You know,
Did that
I'm not
happen?
that young anymore. You know,
I was gonna say,
I need a breather.
Did that happen often, or?
No, I mean, it definitely did, especially during big matches, right? You do win in a really important clutch.
I just meant whether you clutched much. That was all.
I do. Second.
Saving the world one defuse at a time.
I'm trying to burn him. I just can't burn him. Like,
No,
how
you
do you burn a
can't.
man who's been in three
go
major
back to
finals?
9:44. That's fine. You know, that's all good.
It was coming next.
In front of this Polish crowd as well.
Exactly. I've experienced. Like, that's what I said. I experienced it
Having
firsthand.
flashbacks.
Have you gone through the video with him? Has he dissected it for you?
What
The
video?
944 video?
Oh no,
Have you not gone through
I
it?
haven't gone through
Get
it.
him to do that for you in the break.
That's great.
It's
We can do
a
that.
terrific experience.
It is.
Robin basically breaks down where he was 44 times unlucky. We have the vetoes incoming, and Gambit are first. They've banned out Mirage, which we kind of expected, and Fnatic
This
have
is
gotten rid of
super-
Cash.
Yeah, and that's why I said Gambit should have picked Cash.
Yeah.
Fnatic, they're so smart. We are going to see a
Yeah.
cobblestone pick here though for Gambit, I believe.
It'll be Cobblestone or Overpass. I imagine it'd be Cobblestone just because Fnatic doesn't play it. So I think that's actually the big risk, right? Because Cash isn't exactly a great Gambit map at the moment.
Train.
Okay, so Gambit go with Train.
This is all over the
Alright.
place.
This is
Throw the
crazy
notes out, boys.
because
Yeah.
Fnatic are going to be fine with that.
No, but I mean, Train is a map that Gambit's actually been very good on. I think they're coming into the major. They were 4-1 in their past 2 events, and I think that actually goes to 5-1 considering they beat Virtus Pro on it. So they're going to be feeling very confident.
It's going to be a straight out rematch here from
Yeah.
DreamHack Summer. We could even
Yep.
potentially then see Newcastle third.
Yep.
And
These
I mean,
are the only 2 maps these 2 teams have played this year. But they played
Maybe
each other. It's the
they
only
So,
2
so
maps.
they're just very happy with these.
Yeah, they're just
It's
very
very
sour.
comfortable
They've
matchup.
decided.
No one taking any risks. A gentleman's agreement to pick all the same maps. That is very curious. Why Gambit wouldn't go towards Cobble or Overpass considering they're so good on them?
Yeah.
Those
Is
are like the 2
this
biggest win
just
rates.
comfort for each team?
Could be. Yeah, it very well could be. I mean, Fnatic out Cobble finally coming through here. That's good from them. They haven't played that map, so I mean, I'm surprised they even floated out this far. Obviously.
Yeah, same and here as well.
I'd go for Overpass if I'm Gambit. I know Fnatic's better on it, but I mean, you have to trust in your own Overpass at a certain point, right?
Oh, yeah, they've picked Overcast. Okay.
That's a sick third map as well, if it gets to that. I mean, Fnatic showing some good things on it, but obviously, I mean, that's just kind of the brawl map, and that just means there's no huge favorite. And I guess they just looked at that. They look at Nuke, and they just say, we don't even want to mess with it. That's more of a comfort pit as Gambit just saying, we're going to make sure that we're good on whichever map is the decider if we get to 3.
And Fnatic hasn't played Train so far this event either, so you don't necessarily know where we have him on that map.
And historically, this is a map, while we talked about Olaf and how impactful he used to be for the team, this is a map that they usually relied on him very, very much. Now, it's gone away. I think it's actually more JW now and his kind of aggression towards Ivy that is like the trademark of this Train team. This is the map where he gets like the auto shotgun and gets close up at Ivy and just wrecks people. So we'll be kind of interesting to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, and not sure where the plans are going right now, but presumably they'll be back fairly shortly. We know the maps now. I guess gives you a chance to be able to tell us and tell the world where you think this quarterfinal is going to go.
I feel like
Do you want a
Gambit
coin?
No, I mean, I feel like Gambit should have gambled here a little bit. I feel like it's a little bit safe picks, especially knowing for their sake that they haven't really beaten Fnatic on these maps. So I think it's Fnatic are more than happy with how this veto went. It's a third one Overpass. Yeah, it could be a little bit dangerous if it goes to all 3 maps. But Train Inferno initially, I think it's Gambit's going to have a really tough time.
Yeah, I agree. I think there should have been even as I mentioned, I don't know why there's not like a Cobble pick right in that first pass. Like why right when Fnatic bans Cash, take Cobble. It's your second best map, and I mean actually it's right up there with Overpass. It's basically tied to be your first best map, and Fnatic doesn't play it. They're 0-1 on it. So take that one, just get a free win out of it. It feels like that could have been a huge opportunity for Gambit to go up 1-0, but they play it safe, fair play. The issue is they haven't beat them at all. I mean, they've lost to Fnatic twice on Inferno, once on Train already. So, going to be dangerous. But I think also, if you're Gambit, you're looking at this like we didn't have a Dren playing at the level he's at this tournament. We didn't have this kind of boot camp that we've gone through has definitely raised the bar for these guys, raised their level of play. So they're just trusting in that.
Okay, we're going to find out some coach information now. So Scoots is on the main stage.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. I am Sir Scoots. I am joined by Jumpy, the coach of Fnatic. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
All right, so we'll get to the vetoes and how you feel about that. I want to get a little historical stuff going first off. Obviously, there's big talk about this as a rematch from E-League, but in a way it really isn't. Sure, Gambit the exact same roster, but this is the old Fnatic roster back, right? Two guys have left. The Godsend boys have come back after their brief vacation. So that, in your mind, probably resets it entirely, yeah?
Yeah, but we faced them at DreamHack Summer in Jönköping, and we beat them in the best of 3 there. So maybe this is like a rematch, but not a major rematch.
And let's talk about, they had a 3-0 group, breezed right through, couple days off to chill, relax, practice. You guys, as I talked to Olaf Meister, never make it easy on yourselves. You went 3-2, you ended up getting out. What did you do yesterday? How are you prepping in versus them having more days off?
I think we prepped like for every match. We talked about the veto, and it kind of got the way that we expected. So we feel good. We feel good and confident.
We talk a lot about motivation. Obviously, Fnatic's motivated to be back on top again, kind of the old crew back together. Back champions, back to back for some of them, all sorts of great stuff there. Zeus has added a new fire to Gambit. He's got this revenge motivation thing going against Na'Vi. He wants to do really well. And then you've got little old Adrian on that side. So how does your motivation and excitement going to battle theirs?
I think, just to play the playoffs in a major is motivated by itself, and it's a great team we're facing, and we want to take them down.
And let's talk about the maps. So they picked Train, you picked Inferno, you end up on Overpass. Kind of good maps for both of you. How are you feeling about how the way that went?
We feel good. We expected them to pick Cobble or Train, so it felt good. And we've been working a lot on our both Cobblestone and Train, and now it ended up in Train, and we hope our practice gives the result we wanted.
One last question for you. Let's say you're a fairly new fan to Counter-Strike, don't know either team too well, you're watching from home. Who are your players to watch from either team?
Oh, I think it's hard to say. In our team, I think everyone can show up and be the star of the game. And I think in Gambit, like Adrian has been playing amazing this tournament, so it's a player to watch.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck. That's going to do it for us, Red Eye. Back to you guys at the desk.
Revenge all over the menu for this one, whether it be DreamHack or previous majors. It is Fnatic versus Gambit. We're going to get our final thoughts from our pair of analysts right now. Robin, it's interesting what he said, Jumpy, there, because he said they expected Cobble. Mm-hmm. So that means they must have a plan for it then.
No, definitely. I mean, that hence the
So they've
the
mind
cash
gamed
ban.
them, haven't they? It's exactly what Jason was saying.
I'm glad he's confused, because I am as well.
Because they've mind gamed themselves, Gambit,
I don't understand it. Why do teams do this to themselves? Why do they want to make it so difficult, Robin?
I don't know, but that's why Fnatic was so smart, right? Because like they said, they expected Cobblestone, they expected Train, and they were preparing for both of them. Hence the cash ban, right? And that's a map that I said in the beginning. It's like, if it's open, Gambit should pick cash, because Fnatic really hasn't been looking great on it. But instead, I feel like, yes, they did.
They've gone away from a massive strength, essentially,
Definitely.
for what feels like no reason.
This is a map that essentially made Gambit to who they are today, right? A map like Cobblestone, especially knowing that Fnatic doesn't necessarily play too much. I just feel like they're just making it harder for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, they're 12-2 on it this year. They've only lost to SK, and then, well, oddly enough, they lost to CLG at Star Series, which again doesn't make a lot of sense. But that's where we are. But that, like, why don't you pick that map? But either way, let's get beyond that. I've had enough. Train being the first map. I'm done with it.
I want to go back to the aberration there. North American Counter-Strike winning on a map they shouldn't win.
That's what triggered him.
I mean, because he hasn't said anything bad about North American Counter-Strike
really,
in at least an hour and 20 minutes.
It's really not that surprising when you remember that Kusta's on that team.
There it is.
Yep.
Fair enough.
You got nothing for that one, Robin.
Incoming flame.
I don't.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
Nothing.
Yeah, my Twitter's gonna blow up.
Yeah, it'll completely blow up. All right, let's bring in our commentary team for the first quarter-final of the day and say good morning, gents. How you doing?
Really well, thank you. Loving what they've done with the place here in Krakow. Looks really nice.
They've made it a bit smart for us, haven't they?
Yeah, it's looking good. How are you feeling about this, Dan?
This is just really exciting. The whole setup is just perfect. It's just absolutely perfect here to just get some amazing games. Obviously, the crowd in Poland is pretty legendary, so I'm pretty excited to see how that goes over the course of the day.
Absolutely. We're disappointed because we couldn't see you spinning around in the lights in your shorts, Dan.
I know, right? I'm trying to start a thing. I don't know why. It's not really catching on, is it?
I think you look great in shorts, Dan.
Stick to the commentary, Dan. It's all good.
Okay.
Take us into game number one.
Thank you very much, Paul. It's a big arena. It's almost full already in the first game of the live stage of this major. Quite looking forward to this matchup, Gambit versus Fnatic. I think stylistically this is really interesting. What are your thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to prepare for either team, and that's, I think, why it's going to be really interesting to me. I mean, Fnatic are just absolutely sort of ridiculous in how they want to move around the map. They do very unconventional and unorthodox things only they can do, because they essentially say, you know, where one team might say, okay, guys, let's gather up over here, and, you know, we've taken this bits of map control and we'll attack together here. Fnatic will be like, oh, let's just push everywhere at once and take, you know, 5 different aim battles, and that's just the style that they have, and it's just very exciting, and you never know what to expect when you see Fnatic playing, and it seems like they've made this work once again, because that was the style that just gave them so much dominance, you know, so long ago.
Yeah, I think the key for Gambit is to work as a unit, whereas Fnatic are notorious for making individual plays, maybe sometimes all at the same time, to take a round or a map over the line. And obviously JW is going to be playing with confidence. They allow him free reign to make plays that don't make sense on paper. They're not logical, but they can win you a tournament. So it's going to be really interesting in that respect. Booths are quite nice as well. They're completely exposed to the public here, all directions, nothing but glass between them and people. So I am looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this setup is absolutely sexy, James. I'm loving it so far. And the other thing that's going to be really interesting is the fact that we have so many big game players, like big stage players, because there's so many, I mean, as it was covered on the desk, you know, you've got just all of the Fnatic players, right? They're so experienced, and you know, there's so much flair to their style, and they're a team that can really play off of the crowd, you know, as Gambit can as well. So for all the teams, it's so difficult to get to this point of the tournament where you get to play on the stage, but they've made it there. Now it's time for them to really show us what they're made of, and I mean, I'm just expecting to see crazy stuff, to be honest.
Speaking of time, the 60-second countdown is very close to being activated. Just one player needs to ready up, and we will be good to go. So it's time to make our GoTV picks for the first map of the first match here in the arena in Krakow. For those of you in GoTV, my personal picks, you know, I'm a big fan of Adren. He's been delivering for his team. He's a big game player for Gambit, the clutch king of 100 ping. I have to pick him for this map, and I'm gonna go with Adrenaline Hobbit for Gambit. Who are you looking at on Fnatic?
Ooh, it's a tough one, isn't it? I would probably say Olaf Meister and JW, actually, just because it's Train, and I think, I mean, to be honest, you could really select anyone. It's basically a trick question.
Yeah, but I'm asking you to select someone, Dan. So come on.
All right, I'll go Olaf.
Just Olaf Meister?
I believe in Olaf. The king is going to make his return.
All right, and Olaf Meister is quickly reconnecting to the server. He'll be back shortly, I'm sure. So many people here. Looking around the arena, we can see there's a Swedish corner, there's some Fnatic flags, and next to them there are Brazilians. They will be in play later on. We've got German flags as well.
All the commentary
sad for those guys. But yeah, and the international commentators as well. We've got 3 commentary booths live here.
I feel like we're a bit spoiled, James. You know, we get to sit here in the middle of everything. That's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, we have maybe the best view of the stage. That said, our backs are to it.
That's
there
true.
We go.
That is a
downside. Look at the handsome people in the crowd. See there's a Denmark corner as well. So yeah, it's going to be good once things get kicked off. But tomorrow, when Virtus Pro start playing, I cannot imagine what it's going to be like in here.
That is something that we were waiting to see, isn't it? It's just, I think I have no words for my expectations there. So that's something where I just want to experience the sheer hype. I mean, it's legendary, isn't it? So, and they've worked so hard for it too. It's just the story is just perfect. We have so many cool stories here. I mean, obviously the bracket is full of potential heartbreak as well in the way that the draw worked, and also just seeing some of the newer teams too that will get to play on such a big stage. I mean, like Big, for example, that's an absolutely crazy result. But they've done so with incredibly impressive Counter-Strike. They absolutely deserve it. So I'm loving the fact that we're getting some of the old stories and the new stories at the same time here. It's great.
Yeah, looking at the second half of the bracket, I really feel like almost anybody can make it to the semi-final or even final on that half of the bracket. Yeah. So I think in that respect, it's going to be quite unexpected. Lots of Dozier fans in the crowd today. Nice to see that Adren brought a grill with him as well, as in an actual grill, not a girl. But the intro for him was cool. But let's not forget Dan's shorts. I think they are becoming something of legend. Your shots are 2 shots, as they say to Dan in the Bahamas. Well then, the countdown has begun. We're 60 seconds away from the pistol round on train. So make sure you're ready.
So how do you feel with the whole map situation here, James? Do you think that one team is favored, or is it just could it just go either way?
I think, again, I mean, it's hard to say because for me, Gambit are more of a team unit, but Fnatic, depending on the opponent and I don't know, depending on if they're hitting their shots, their individual plays can take them over the line. So map-wise, I think Gambit are comfortable, but Fnatic, you never really know just how strong they're going to hit and how Gambit will be able to deal with that. If Fnatic, if JW can get up to some shenanigans around Ivy on train, for example, and start pushing and doing some crazy stuff as we've seen him do in the past, then if it throws people off, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they got nervous on a stage like this. But enough about that. It is game time. The pistol is about to begin. Fnatic will be starting on the CT side. They will be defending on the first map of this best of 3. And Gambit will be the aggressors. Here we go.
Just listen to that crowd. It is time. Fnatic, of course, going with the typical kit and smoke on. Crim's everybody else.
It's a false start.
Oh no.
It's a false start.
Oh, it's all a tease. It's all a tease.
Just when you're ready to get mad hyped as hell.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get it back.
CTs are still in CT, so
yeah.
Everybody calm down. Okay, so Olafmeister is suffering an audio issue which is causing a delay here, so they will hopefully resolve that soon. We've had a few people have had issues with their in-ears in this tournament so far, so always good to bring spares. That deagle shot was really loud. I had to turn down our in-ears here. So hopefully his in-ears will be sorted out and they'll be good to go.
I can't take it, James. I can't take the tease, the weight, and denied. Yeah, this is really interesting to me because I feel like for Fnatic, they've waited for so long to get to this moment. I think the last, I would say, perhaps even year since when Fnatic started to fall off, and then they switched players around, and we had all the Swedish shuffles. I think there was like a really big humbling period for a lot of these players, and then they started to reappreciate what they had and all the success that they had that seemed to come so easily for them. And it seems like forever that we've seen them now in this position, sort of comfortable. They've re-innovated their style, and they're a more mature team, a more experienced team, and very ready for this. And as you said with Gambit, it's hard to know what to expect from them on the big stage. And again, it's you have a bunch of very experienced players there, so I've no doubt they have something special saved for this. And of course, both teams had time to prepare for one another as well, so we might see some shenanigans.
Yeah, just saw Mo on your screens there for a brief time, and you get a lot of attention on Adren these days, especially when it's time for LAN. But Mo is an explosive warper, so we can't forget about him. And the AWPs, I'm sure, will be coming into play during this map and this series. So Olafmeister having some frustration there with his in-ears.
Yeah, the AWP is really interesting. Obviously, that's one of the things that makes Fnatic quite dangerous, because you have pretty much everyone who can basically pick up an AWP at any moment and do something, make a play with it. And obviously, this map is very interesting from that perspective on the T side. Originally, way back when Olafmeister made it, very famous. The aggressive playstyle, very famous when he was considered the best, basically the best player in the game at that time. He was one of the reasons was he could just run a T side, get a 30 bomb straight away by just playing very aggressively, basically winning games by himself. And we've seen glimpses of that form come back with Olafmeister, and this would really be, of course, the perfect time to see that once again. So I feel like this is really a perfect map for us to start off with these two teams.
Is he good to go? Looks like he might be. Looking forward to seeing Dennis on these pistol rounds. Infamously consistent on the pistols is Dennis.
Yep.
Again, he'll be looking for a place in that finals and beyond. Very dangerous player. Another one of my favorites. How can he not be?
I loved watching him through all the matches that Fnatic played, just because there's so many spots where he was just laughing, just super happy, laughing in all these scenarios. It's like everything's like a joke, to Dennis, and that's quite funny. If you see how scary he is on the server, and whenever he would win a clutch, you just see him just like smiling to his teammates and having a good old time, and just keeping the spirits up. And that's very important in a team game like this, having those players that just bring just so much positivity to the team. And Dennis is certainly one of those.
Yeah, looking towards there's more to the Gambit story now. We've seen a lot of talk about the existing Na'Vi team, and lots of rumors swelling out to that one as well. Does Zeus perhaps go back to Gambit? What if they are eliminated at this stage? What if they make the final? What if they go further than that? Lots of things are possible here. I think this is one of the most open playoff brackets that I've seen at a major. Partly thanks to the fact that SK and Astralis are playing each other in the very first round. But there's a lot of opportunity for many teams. So like if he is in the mix as a potential player to go the way of Na'Vi, then where is the line where if they go beyond this point, then it's less likely? I don't know. Lots at stake here.
Yeah, imagine how good it must feel for Zeus, having, not playing in that Na'Vi lineup. That was obviously a very hard time in his career, having spent so much time with them. Then to basically say, I still have the hunger, I still have the will to win. I'm going to find a ragtag team, and just bring them up to be able to win a major. And look how far he's come. That is quite a storyline. Zeus is definitely one hell of a guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's hard not to like the Gambit team and what they've done in the past year. Still waiting for Olof to rejoin the server at the moment. See Gambit wondering what's going on the other side. And maybe this gives the players some more time to get used to how exposed they are. You've seen the jib shots going through the ceiling into the booths. Really nice shots with all the player screens whirring in the background. And that is the very big trophy that they are fighting for.
I hope the team that wins it can lift it, James. Sometimes that's what I worry about. Okay, can you get that trophy in the air?
Yeah, our trophy was pretty heavy.
Yeah,
one of the heavier ones. So some extra moments for Gambit to talk amongst them. What's he doing? Good spirits in the Gambit side. And it's good that they're able to do that. This kind of thing might irritate some teams. Those of you with the hottest girlfriends in esports, I think it's reasonable to say.
So it's like there's still some issues, but is Olof back on the server? Do we have him back on the server? No.
I'll play. I'll do it.
Hey, I think maybe you'll get a chance, James. Maybe you'll get a chance.
I don't know any Swedish, but just it's fine. It's fine. I'll do it. I'm in there. I've got my gear. I've always got my gear. Always, always. So his game does not appear to be open, and perhaps it's a case of channeling the audio to the right output if there are multiples.
You should get in there, James.
But we'll be getting in there tomorrow. I don't think
That's
they've
true.
announced the teams for the show match. Yeah.
Yeah, it just dawned on me earlier that.
But
yeah,
the important things are that Janko and I are on opposite teams, and I promised him that he's going to get knifed. These are the key takeaways from the show match coming tomorrow. We are, before this match gets underway, while these issues are looked at, we are going to have a look at a major forecast video. Take a look at this.
Well, I would say the favorites are like SK, Astralis and FaZe. Obviously a team like G2 is not even a legend, but it's also really dangerous. I think those teams are like the teams you would least want to play.
SK, FaZe and Astralis, who are showing really good CS from months and months, so they have the consistency, so they will be good at this major for sure.
SK, they're on form. FaZe, they're looking really good. Astralis will get better even in 2 or 3 weeks, even better than now. So Virtus Pro gonna be again great, I'm sure. So it will be really hard. Also teams like Gambit and every other team which are already qualified, Fnatic, they're all looking better now.
FaZe, we have Astralis, we have SK, and at majors, Virtus Pro is always playing like out of their mind.
FaZe, Astralis and SK, who are like the top 3 at the moment, and then like the underdogs, or how to say, black horses for them is just Navi, Gambit and so on, and they are like really good teams as well compared to many others who are in the major.
There's a lot of teams that is up and coming right now, and there's no teams that you can really underestimate. For example, I think teams like Fnatic and SK, even though they're still kind of at the top right now, they're not really number 1 or number 2. All these teams are still competing and they're really hungry to get that number 1 spot.
This is gonna be the most like the highest competition ever on a major for sure.
Definitely it's gonna be one of the hardest ones.
as close range. They start to swarm as the bomb gets planted. This is wonderfully handled so far by Gambit. There's just Crimson JW left now. They're having a real struggle to get in. Gambit with a fantastic pistol so far. No, surely not. Denied. Dozy, I can't believe he's going for it already, James, the knife kill.
That's a reasonable read. JW alive for now, but not for long. Mo will finish things off in the pistol round. I like the value play from Dozier, looking for the knife, and again, it's good. It's a good psychological what could have been in this round, trying to escape. He won't be allowed to. Another kill. 3 kills for JW. And that's a good start for Fnatic. JW is rotating everywhere. He's played in 5 rounds. He's been in connector. He's been over towards B and rotated towards the Ivy position and then back on the bomb train. JW is all over the place, and that's going to be hard for Gambit to deal with.
And the one thing that could be worrying for Gambit now is whether Fnatic are able to essentially get in their heads and read what kind of pace they're going to run. Because we just saw a bunch of slow rounds that really did not work out for Gambit. So Fnatic have to be expecting fast play now because Gambit have to change something. So I wouldn't be too surprised if Fnatic do alter their setup to account for that. But of course here they understand that Gambit can't have too much but pistols, but maybe pistols is all that's required. Adren with a great shot there. That's Flusher dead, but how much more can they really get out of this?
The numbers game towards the B bomb site. Flashbangs will force Dennis from his position, and the bomb's going to go down. Adren with another kill. He's the only person, though, with a really strong gun at the moment. There is a P-15 play, but Adren with the deagle has to do more. Hobbit, Dozier taken down. No rifles for Gambit to collect. All their kills have been long range, and Fnatic will return in kind of the long range kills, leaving Mo alone, looking for a flank, but Olofmeister has a read on it. The Glock was never going to get done much done in that situation. Fnatic prevail. Some flashy kills, but the round goes the way of the Swedes.
And the crazy thing is the amount of damage they did. Again, the 2 kills of the Deagle, that's actually, if you consider the investment, like you said, there was only 1 good weapon actually as far as the pistols were concerned, and they got 2 kills on the bomb plant. That's actually an insanely good result for Gambit. And now the score is all tied up, 3 to Gambit, 3 to Fnatic. And we get the buy in once again. We've got Mo on the AWP. Now, this is the interesting situation. Will we see Gambit change the pace? Will they go for a very fast play? That is what I'll be looking for here in this round. We've got double off for Fnatic, mixing things up there. Mo unable to find a quick pick there from the team main area.
Interestingly, Gambit were looking out for a potential second AWP in a previous round when they lost one of their own, and now the nasty surprise is here. There are flashbangs for this position. JW, I think he gets a kill there 9 times out of 10, but not on this occasion. Dennis is going to be a nasty surprise. Saw Dota drawing his gun very late. Free kill for the Swedes.
And you can see Gambit are trying to go fast into B, but then that forward frag from Dennis really creates a horrible situation because now they have to adapt. They can't just force the play. Now that Fnatic have the information, they've got that first pick, they've got the rotation in. So it's back to the drawing board in this round for Gambit, and not only are they back to the drawing board, they're doing so with 1 player less. So it's going to be very tough for them to get in here, and they don't have a huge amount of grenades either, so this will be quite the struggle for Gambit. And Fnatic with those double orbs, it's very scary.
Olofmeister has gone for his second push through Ivy of the round. This time it will yield a kill onto Mo. Gambit are looking very disorganized at the moment. They don't seem to know what they want to do. So they've had 1 issue, and now they're in a really nasty situation where they've got no map control, and they're trying to re-establish it. And now the bomb is on its own with 30 seconds remaining. 2 players towards the B bomb site. They don't have the personnel to fake in this situation. So JW and Dennis will duel with them on the B bomb site. Dennis taken down, but JW finally getting the close range kills towards B.
A great little play. They're getting out of harm's way with the flashbang. JW still causing huge problems there on the bomb train. Crims will pick up the kill onto Adrena Zeus now. There's nothing really much he can do with 10 seconds left and an AWP and no friends to play off of. So again, just as you say, Gambit, they kept trying to make plays here, and Fnatic with their aggressions have been so well timed, able to just be in the heads of Gambit, just get the right player in the right position, get that bit of information, get that pick off. Has to completely change the round for Gambit. Fnatic reading it really well, understand where to take the next aggression.
It seems like a false start for Gambit.
Yes, absolutely. It's their initial approach is not panning out so well at all.
Ignoring the pistol, it's 4-0 to Fnatic.
Oh, surely
at the
not.
moment in the business part. What do you see, Dan? What's going on?
Do we have 3 orbs? We have 3 orbs on Fnatic, James. The triple orb special.
It is Train. Train must be the most viable map in the map pool at the moment to have 3 orbs on. That is quite the change. So Gambit, they don't have the money. This is the buy between the buys for Gambit, and they're heading towards maximum loss bonus. Zeus dying after time has got nothing in the bank, but the point is, Gambit have enough to cause problems to Fnatic. They've got smoke grenades as well. If they get into close quarters, then those two M4s are going to have a lot of work to do. These kind of rounds can really fall apart for a team with more than 2 sniper rifles on their side, but most of the time it does work out. We'll see how it works on this occasion. It seems it will be the execute into the A site. We saw Cloud9 have some nice counters to this play. We'll see if Fnatic has picked that up, or if they've got other ideas.
And they should be expecting this as well. And you can see JW's got a great angle here. You can look over the smoke. That flashbang was perfect there. Able to cover the approach from Adren, but perhaps not good enough. JW still on top of things. But the bomb will make its way quickly towards B. A very cheeky fake coming in here from the Gambit side, and it works. It's giving them a plant, but Dennis needs to be on his mark as well with the AWP. JW indeed will be falling victim to the close range of that Tech 9 from Hobbit as he starts to push the issue around the train. Another frag all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, Hobbit with 3, and there's problems now here for Fnatic. A 2 versus 2 as suddenly we get Crims answering back, but Dozier, he's had so much time to position here. Will Fnatic read this?
Olofmeister has 1 HP. Dozier, there's opportunity for him. They could go for a smoke defuse attempt. There's tons of utility here for Fnatic, and it's Olofmeister with 1 HP to try and defuse the bomb. It's not going to work out. Is there time for Crims? It's going to be a close one, Dan. It's going to be a close one, but I think they just might do it.
Oh my God,
you heard the beat there. You heard the beat. And, you know, before the round started, we spoke about how you can have problems with three AWPs, but I don't think that was necessarily the issue. Fnatic had a full 5-man rotation into A. 2 Gambit players made it into B with no one there to defend it whatsoever. There was no one there.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's so funny because Fnatic, who have so far been predicting Gambit, I think, quite well. I think, as you say, James, they were absolutely convinced it was going to be just an A commitment. So such a smart timing for a fake there from Gambit. Perhaps that can bounce them back into this one, as you pointed out, it's Fnatic with all the momentum until that round. So it could be quite the turning point here. We have Gambit just taking some early map control, but being fairly passive, perhaps afraid that Fnatic might decide now to throw in a spanner to the works and get some aggression going on early. But Fnatic still playing quite passively overall, and their aggressions on the CT side have been very measured.
That round has annihilated the money of the CT side. Gambit, opportunity knocks for them, but the first task for the Gambit side is to do something before there are 30 seconds remaining, and that hasn't been happening in these rounds. There's been a lot of waiting around, and then yes, you will wait for the CT utility to be used. But look at this, there's a minute on the clock. There are 3 smokes here for the CT side. JW doesn't get an engagement on that occasion, but Crims definitely will do. Around the pop, though, 2-man spray down for him, looking for the third. He's seen the bomb, though, and indeed it's going to be another full rotation from Fnatic. Olofmeister for 2k with the AWP. Only Dozier remains. Not enough damage done by Gambit.
Awesome defense there from Fnatic. And one thing that's also really amazing from Gambit is these flashes of theirs. They have obviously drilled the hell out of these offensives, because we saw JW there. He's got an aggressive deep angle. Looks like it's going to catch somebody off guard. That's the whole point of it. But there's a flashbang for that. Gambit very well prepared here. But again, that's the danger of a team like Fnatic. These guys are just individually absolute monsters, and that's what Gambit are going to have to try to deal with. They're going to have to slay the monsters of Fnatic.
It almost feels like Gambit are trying to avoid playing the style of game that Fnatic want to play, but they're just not getting enough done. And it seems that Fnatic know Gambit want to play a slow game, so they're just holding on to the utility that you would normally see disappear when you play a slow round. So that's not necessarily working out for Gambit. Max loss bonus, the AWPs and rifles will be on their way, regardless of the outcome of this round for the T side, but see if they can do some more damage. This time, Fnatic are holding steadfast with 2 players in the B bomb site. Mo makes it into no man's land and gets taken down in isolation. Olofmeister's got problems now. Players to the front of him, players to the back, and now the kills are coming in for Gambit.
They've done a great job here taking over the bomb train, but there's still a few players left here to fight back. Dennis coming in from Connector now with the AK-47, able to win the battle against Dozier. Still 3 remain though, and Zeus does have an AWP, so there's certainly a lot to be up against here for Fnatic as they take their time and they try to coordinate themselves in together as 3, as Adren also waits for the perfect timing, able to support Zeus, who has that AWP. Adren with the peeking there, trying to buy time.
Hobbit
once again with a Tech 9. And it's just going to be one player left here for the Swedish side. It's Flusher. Can he make this happen? Going for the hold. Hobbit says no. And that's the round there from Gambit. I mean, it seems like they don't need rifles, James. Just give them some Tech 9s and a couple of smokes, and they're good to go.
Fnatic finding it hard to deal with the pistols, but you saw Fnatic made adjustments when they over-rotated in a previous round, so they are staying sharp, the Swedes, despite losing that round. Very patient play from Hobbit, concentrating on the headshot in that duel. You could see a lot of people go crazy and maybe grab their mouse too hard, but the focus was there from Gambit. They're back to winning ways. 3 snipers on the map. Crims with the MP9, and that would tell me aggression, and indeed he's making his way inside the pop dog position. Definitely want to be up close with a weapon such as that. Fast fire rate, but it does fire potatoes.
It's like Fnatic have all the players in the right positions here, and of course part of the reason is due to the aggression that Olofmeister has taken towards Ali. He's got that information, and great position there from Dennis. Can fall back. Does that commit Gambit though? Are they going to go in with this after losing a man early on? It looks like they're going to go for it. JW up close, going to whip the first shot there as Dennis is in still a great position. And he's got JW to provide distraction for him, but it's not going to be good enough. Gambit with the entry frags here. Now it's Flusher who's the closest man, as well as Crims coming into the flank here with that MP9. Zusto holding him at arm's length with a Tech 9, but not for too much longer. But still, 3 players left here for Gambit on the bomb site at the moment to try to defend. And here goes Olaf with that AWP, sneaky plays over the train. Nice flick shot there from him, but Dozier with a fast response.
Crosshair was in the right place, but not quite hitting the mark. Crims, he's been beasting so far. He's got 14 kills in these 10 rounds. He doesn't have a kit though. The double peek is absolutely perfect from Gambit. Talk about communication. Really nice stuff from them. A second round. What does this do to the cash of Fnatic? Well, it is in the toilet. It is down the pan. $2,000 per person. Do Gambit have a good read of the money? Again, in the scoreboard, the players can see how many CTs they killed in each round, and that will help them determine what round to expect from Fnatic. Almost nothing bought by the Swedes just yet. Crims with a P250, and that is literally it as they leave CT spawn.
And it's so cool as well to see, Crims having good performances and so on in Fnatic again. I think everybody on the team is sort of finding themselves, and they've refound their identities. And I mean, he was always known for being one of the most efficient players and one of the best anchors in the business. And we've already seen his ability when faced with multiple opponents at once. Very capable. His pistol slowly diminishing at the moment for Fnatic. A nice little flick shot there from Mo. Also, a bit of penetration damage will be finished off by Adrenans. This affair will soon come to a close, I think, as Gambits diligently, methodically make their way to round number 6. Although it's a bit annoying there for Mo. But there it is, 6-6.
Yeah, minimal damage done, AWP saved. They will be absolutely happy with that. Finally, it seems that we will get a close train after a bumpy start for Gambit. The score is tied. No snipers on Fnatic, and I do wonder if we'll start to see a more aggressive Fnatic now in this shape. Maybe they'll feel like the devil on their shoulder is pushing them forward, pushing them through Ivy again. I do wonder what role JW will have in a round like this. Now he's over to his Ivy position, but Olofmeister going straight through Ivy immediately. They seem to have a good read at Gambit, just abandon this position often. I mean, Fnatic, they've had some good reads on Gambit, like Fnatic in that previous buy round they lost. They had the numbers in the B bomb site, weren't successful, but they did make the right play.
And now it seems to be time for Gambit to make the move in towards B at the moment. But I do wonder if they'll have anything sneaky up their sleeves, whether they'll try to double back or just commit into it. Looks like there's going to be a committed play here with the smoke. Dennis with a quick play with that flashbang going straight forwards. Almost gets 2 there, but denied by Mo ultimately now as we get 3 players left for Gambit. They've got to plant the bomb here. Zeus claiming ground, forward ground there. 2 frags from him. That's massive work, but Olaf still alive and stalking through the smoke. It's Adren though. So smart is Adren. He knows what's up. That's Olofmeister done. And Crims has got nothing really left to do but to turn tail and run. He's got such low hit points at the moment, 23.
It's a 1 versus 2. He's got to go for this. The bomb's only just gone down as well. Surely someone has dropped one, but it's not going to work out for him. Gambit take the lead. I think Crims just wanted to reset the situation. He was spotted, he was exposed on the high ground. He had bullets, grenades, shrapnel flying his way. But no, that is the 4th round in a row for Gambit, and it's a tactical timeout from Fnatic. Their momentum has suddenly gone. The swing is broken, and they'll try to fix it in these 30 seconds. Great bursting by Zeus. Lovely second kill from him as well. Adren staying close to the smoke again. When a T side chooses to push through B, one really good thing to watch is the T player who goes near connector, what he chooses to do. Some will try and make a play into connector, some will try and make it beyond towards the CT side of the train yard, and some will just stay around that smoke or on the slope if there isn't a smoke there. Adren chose to stay around the smoke, so he would have an advantage if a CT went through it. Got a free headshot, saw the last player as well. Pretty much won the round for his team from that point, unless Crims has a nice 1v2 clutch, but it wasn't to be. Fnatic on the pistols. It's their turn to head towards maximum loss bonus. Adren with the AWP rather than Moat. That's curious. Maybe spawn-based. Indeed it is. He's going to swap around now, and everything goes back to normal.
But we know the pistols are very dangerous in the hands of the Swedes. Dozier looking for this, though. Really nice stuff there. Very cognizant as Dozier now looks for perhaps a trade fragger to come into play. A nice smoke in this position, and trying to open up Ali. Wow, with the CZ spraying through the smoke. Flusher, of course, getting the kill. Lovely stuff. And now Zeus doesn't have anyone to play off of here, so he's got 2 angles to be worried about, because they could always just push the smoke. So you have to be very careful about that. Yeah, it's awkward for Zeus. He can hold this angle and be relatively safe, but there's an AK on the floor around the corner. He doesn't want them to collect it, but now he's got no choice. And you can see he just dives around the corner as fast as he can, does his best. 3 frags in 1 second. Crims making it a 4th. JW got a quick 2, but who knows what the hell just happened. It did seem a bit scrappy the way their approach to Ivy. I mean, maybe they thought they were just USPs or something, but it did seem a bit scrappy from Gambit. Yeah, I mean, Gambit just tried to go through Pop Dog and T-Main at the same time, and just look at this. Oh man, just coming in from above there, dropping down from the top of the train. That is some good timing, if ever I've seen it, from JW. And that is certainly a bit disappointing for Gambit, but they have 7 rounds on the board still, so really competitive game of train at the moment between these 2 teams, and we see once again the double AWPs come into fashion here for Fnatic as JW and Olofmeister hold on to those. And Olofmeister, he's been playing, making so many plays by himself at Ali, and this round is no different. Look at all the info he's got. It's almost like it's CT territory. It's familiar to him, like an old friend. Smokes, grenades all over. This is Bedlam. Ivy was left exposed for the most part, but Flush is the one to get the 2K rather than Olofmeister, who's playing in the IB position. Many Fnatic players around the train. It seems perhaps Gambit have lost their momentum in the last round of the first half. I think Gambit are trying to play off a distraction from Hobbit there, dropping down Pop Dog, but that smoke slows them down a bit too much. It makes life difficult as Fnatic aren't going to be caught off guard. They're ready now. It was a nice play from Gambit, but indeed that smoke at Pop Dog ruins all the plans of Gambit there, and Fnatic looking very, very good here for the 8th round. Close out this half. Nice frag there from Hobbit though at range, trying to go for the taps. Another one from Hobbit. He's not down and out just yet. He's got 16 points of health though, so it's going to be hard for him to win some of these engagements, and JW's in a devious position here. Close range, just the single bullet required. 8 rounds for Fnatic, 7 for Gambit. But if you look at how this started, I thought maybe Fnatic would start to run away with things, but Gambit, man, they're showing a lot of temerity at the moment. Yeah, this it's good. It's a close. I mean, Gambit could have gone in with a lead had not been for that half buy round from Fnatic. But here we are, all to play for. Fnatic off to the T side, and you can see that JW has been one of the heavy hitters in the first half, along with Crims. Crims up there with 16, leading the server at the moment. There's a good average of kills on Gambit, but they don't want to be average in this half versus Fnatic now, who will be able to set the pace. And they'll be playing with confidence, Fnatic. The amount of times they were able to trespass into what is normally T territory in the first half will only boost their confidence moving into the second pistol round. Crims and Flusher with grenades. Zeus will be carrying the smoke and the fuse kit. Everybody else on Kevlar. Yeah, I love all these grenades from Fnatic. You wouldn't often see it like in an online match or something, but here they obviously have quite the plan, using those grenades to give them ample coverage to at least secure a bomb plant, but some kills will be lovely as well. Nice tag there coming in. Mo desperately weak, and the bomb will go down. Fnatic with a very strong opener, but it's a pistol round, and it can all change in the blink of an eye as we see still 5 players standing for Gambit.
Mo and Dozier trying to double pick, but Mo gets taken down. But Dozier will avenge the kills, and now it's down to JW. Smoke and Diffuse comes in. He is not making it there in time, and I think he realizes it. Wax on, wax off. Can save his Kevlar, try and get some extra money. He'll do exactly that. Picks up another pistol as well, but the pistol does go to Gambit. That's a huge round for the CT side.
Yeah, that means 2 pistol rounds won by Gambit, so definitely a struggle in that sense for Fnatic. Now, how will Gambit approach their CT side? We saw Fnatic were really, really passive, allowing Gambit on their T side to sort of just play the field and then react. Gambit might have a similar approach in mind. Of course, we have the full save here for Fnatic. They want the AK-47s in the following round. So this should be quite an easy one here for Gambit. Zeus starting things off well. Quick 2K for him, making some money with that SMG. Hobbit will continue the trend as well, and it's almost all over, and we can get into the real business here when the AKs come into play.
Mr. Stock Knife Flusher. It's been spotted, and surely it's a matter of time. Cheeky grenade, but the god Dozier finished things off with the UMP. Nice money bonus for him. Most of the Gambit side went for rifles, including the scouts, onto Mo, and those rifles continue. So it seems Mo will keep the scout in his hands. Should the worst happen for Gambit, he can buy with his team in the next round. 5 AKs from Fnatic, reasonable amount of grenades. So let's see just how aggressive they can get.
Yeah, you'd normally expect it with those AKs. It's always a comfortable round when you get them into those open spaces of the AE yard. But we've got some forward positions here to try to maximize the effectiveness of these SMGs from Zeus. He's making a lot of noise. They're jumping around, running around as well. Mid-Pat's trying to bait a peek and then tosses the nade up. A nice idea from Zeus, however, it's not going to really yield all that much for him just yet. And Fnatic starting to wander down towards the B side of the map with Olofmeister just pressuring towards Ali, and that's really important because it makes it very hard for Gambit to read what this round's going to be. But here it is, the entry from Fnatic into the B sites. Adren will be able to get the first kill, but the quick trades make life quite difficult for Gambit.
Dozier repositioning, but he can't get anything done in that situation. So man advantages with the CT. So Molotov will try to force Crims out into the open, but the smoke is there. He can hold his position. Flusher getting taken down. T still on the high ground. There's a flank coming in from Olofmeister, and he better move quick because Dennis is alone on the site. No Molotov or any other shenanigans, and there are smokes for Gambit. 2 of the 3 players with kits, they could go for a hero defuse. They're looking for the flank, and Olofmeister finally there. Dennis now on the high ground. He's got a good angle, but he's expecting a peek. There's Hobbit taken down, going for a spray transfer, but Zeus was off of it. Gets back on it. 2 players surviving for Gambit. They prevail, making it to double figures.
And the really sick thing here as well is we can't forget that Gambit actually tried to continue with their SMGs and the scout and so on, and they still won the round. They picked up 2 AKs, so they have made a huge amount of money. They're really making the most of that, winning that initial pistol round. So this really puts a lot of pressure on Fnatic. Fnatic have to start controlling Gambit's economy, because if it starts to get out of control, Fnatic are going to have a hard time just being up against what will seem like endless buy rounds. And this was the way that Gambit turned things around. The Tech 9s and the grenades. Let's see if it works as well for Fnatic.
JW is only 22 years old. The man has his own shot, and he's 22 years old. What the hell's going on? Fnatic moving through the IV position. Hobbit needs to back off. He can have a crossfire with his teammates, but he's still staying close. Gets shot straight in the head, and so does Zeus. The same problems that Fnatic had, Gambit are having those as well. They are getting absolutely waxed out. Olofmeister with a 2K so far, picked up an AK. What has happened to Gambit in this round?
And Dozier just has to get damage in here. He can't allow Fnatic to take away too many weapons, and there's an AWP. Oh, the timing! Dozier, though, coming back into the angle at the right time. However, it's just going to be 1 frag for him, and we can see Olofmeister picks up the AWP. We've got AKs collected as well, M4, so Fnatic That's exactly what they had to do. But Gambit, they're going all in, James. All the chips are going across the line. We got double ops from Mo and Adren.
Zeus had $10,000 at the start of that round, so he is dropping some cash for his team. What a great spray from Olaf Meister. That is sexy stuff. Keeps it close. You see Mo, Hobbit, he's been feeling the emotions, man. Zeus has forced him to engage in a bro fist. That's a nice shot from Fnatic. Can you imagine if that was a kill, what it would do to the psyche of Gambit? They need to keep their heads in the game, this CT side. Again, Zeus as the in-game leader and also the captain, trying to keep his team focused, but you can see they are hurting a bit.
Everything slows down now as Fnatic start to take more position. They get Olaf Meister back towards Ali. And again, that's so key, just always keeping pressure towards Ali, because again, it's so hard for Gambit to know, is it going to be that triple-pronged attack into wave? They put pressure around T-Main and Popdog as well at points. Is it going to be the plan to beat? It just becomes so hard, and it's all because of Olaf Meister and how he can stay alive, keep pressure up, keep himself in good timings on rotations. But it looks like Fnatic indeed will make their way in towards the A site, and Olaf, he's got some help arriving behind him soon, but he's not too afraid to take these duels ahead of his teammates. As he looks for the peek. Not quite good enough there. Zeus with a nice wide peek there to avoid Olaf Meister. Great re-peek there from Zeus. Brave stuff, but it pays off.
Those are looking to flank from the B bomb site. Can he get a pop in time? The bomb's heading towards the main position. Dennis tagged, making his way into the site, but there are no kills just yet for this T side. There's Dennis getting taken down. Things go from bad to worse. Grenades flying in, but JW's been given a present. What can he do with it? There are 20 seconds for them to make a gauntlet run to that bomb site, and they're not getting anywhere yet. Hobbit taken down finally, but all the CTs are here. They've got a crossfire on the bomb site. The bomb can surely not go down. Dozier in the pop dog, lovely close range from JW, but there are 8 seconds for this plan to happen. The pistol for Adren, and that's going to be the round over. 2 versus 1. JW needs to get away. 3 HP. He will be hunted by Dozier with that pistol, doing his best to hide, and he's somehow going to escape. But the round is with Gambit. Some nice parkour from JW towards the end there.
Yeah, he was on the run, man. That's crazy stuff there from him. The Hunger Games business on the survival is JW, but that no-scope, what on earth was that? I guess it's just JW, classic JW things, isn't it? That's what it is.
Standard stuff for a high-pressure AWPer. Thrives in those situations, and we'll see which team will thrive in this one, because it's going to be a rough buy for both sides. All the UMPs coming out. JW and Olaf Meister towards Ivy, and let's look at Hobbit's position. He'll get some sound cues from this, but I can't see a flash push coming in. Mo is close to him, but he's got main to focus on, and so does Zeus. CT's still positioning around the map at the moment. Zeus with the FAMAS. If he has to duel towards the main position, that's going to be less than ideal. Fnatic will search for a pick with this boost. Zeus will hear it. Surely he could take a grenade from a teammate now. He's very exposed.
Yeah, here goes the peak. Zeus going to lose out on that one. Dennis opening things up here, and now Gambit, they've got to be worried because Fnatic are ready to come in from Ali as well very shortly, and with that man advantage that they have, Gambit going to have to make some plays, and it's, of course, Adren to try to make the play, but Dennis shuts him down as well. That's 2 for Dennis in this round. Is there salvation is somewhere in these 3 remaining players for Gambit as time starts to get lower, and Fnatic, of course, will begin to make their way back in.
Olaf and JW continue to creep towards Ivy. Fnatic careful of main, don't quite have possession of it just yet. Some warning shots from both teams around the Ivy position, and the clock continues to tick. Hobbit very exposed. Mo, it's his turn to get the no-scope, and JW's down as well. Crims, though, he's still got the bomb, dropped off, leaving Flusher alone in a 1 versus 2. 18 seconds, they don't need to show. Dozier repositioning, his teammate will be the bait. Flusher's high, he's exposed, jumping onto the low ground, he's got to run to the site, and he'll get taken down from the back by Dozier. That was really worrisome for Gambit. If you look at when Zeus went for the dry peek, he hears jumping, he knows at least one person is in Popdog. Mo is on the bomb train, he's got the one flashbang that the 3 of him, I think Adren was there as well, he could flash for Zeus, but with the AWP, he's holding the angle on main, so it seems they chose to sacrifice Zeus rather than him come off the angle and throw the flashbang. Really tight stuff for Fnatic, but they come out on the losing end again.
That was epic stuff from Mo. Oh my god, the guy is performing under pressure right there, and I love that. even in that super high-octane situation, gets to 3K. The last player, he realizes, I don't have to take the jewel here. I'm not supposed to take the jewel here. I can play with my teammate. And to be able to do that after making such a quick series of kills really shows Mo's experience and why he has made it with his team onto this stage. Right now, he's making the stage look pretty good, James. It's a 12-9 scoreline for Gambit, and that round is going to give them a lot of momentum because the money indeed is pretty poor for Fnatic at the moment.
Yeah, Mo looks pretty level-headed at the moment. Hobbit, though, you can see he's feeling the pressure, but it's not affecting him in the game. He's got 19 kills. He is leading the charge. This time, Fnatic are on the pistols, but they've got no Kevlar. They don't really have that many dangerous guns. Olaf with the Deagle, and he's got full armor with his Deagle. He can take the odd shots. Sometimes it does make the difference, but he'll be looking to do some damage to the CT economy. But he'll be the bait. JW will get the job done for 1 kill at the very least. But in a 4 versus 2 Glocks, we cannot expect much more. Adren going fishing. But he's using missiles as bait in this situation.
13 for Gambit. They're pretty close now for map number 1. It's going to be interesting to see what Fnatic choose to do here to try to break Gambit. Because if Gambit pick up this round, Fnatic are back into eco territory. It's going to be really difficult. Of course, they will have a $2,900 for their round loss bonus. So if Fnatic do get a bomb down in this round, even if they lose it, they can still try to force together a buy in the following round, which will feature AKs and so on. But that's not ideal. They really need to stop Gambit right now. This is such a key round for Fnatic to win. And so that means their decision as to how they approach it couldn't be more crucial, and looks like there's aggression from Gambit. They've got a quick pick there. Mo, where's he going to be? Looks like it's going to be Inner this time, and that's Krims sent to the bench for this one.
Mo doing the same that JW was trying to in the first half. Gambit have a third player towards B in Adren if needed, but now he's going back and forth to connector, so perhaps the Gambit have a good read on what the remainder of Fnatic will do. The flash is there, Doja's being very cheeky, maybe expendable, looking for info with the UMP. Hobbit and Zeus will stay towards A for the time being, but surely the rotation will come in from Zeus. Adren's got to be very careful, he's going straight into the grenade, but he will survive for now. Mo with the pick onto Flusher, Mo delivering even more kills for his side. 3K for Mo so far, and Olaf Meister remains. Not going to expect Zeus in the same position, and Adren will finish off the job. 14-9 Gambit, no plan for Fnatic.
I mean, we said it, that was the round that Fnatic had to win to stop this scary momentum for Gambit, but they seem to be getting stronger every round at the moment and looking very confident. Fnatic having to go, actually looking like they're going for a force buy here anyway, despite not getting the bomb down. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Keep Gambit off of match point, give yourself 2 chances instead of just having 1. Tech9s, AK Galil. Grenades, that's what Fnatic are going to try to win this round with. It doesn't look good. Let's see what they got.
Dozier. What are you doing, Dozier? You're not supposed to be in this position. There are 4 people on the A site, and he's going to get dinked by his teammate. That's going to give his position away to the team. What the hell's going on? That is so unlucky for him. That's crazy. And that might cause a rotation from Fnatic. Talk about a stroke of luck, that! That
is absolutely ridiculous indeed. They've been handed something here, but how far can they take it? Because they still have to get into a bomb site. They haven't really got much map control. They haven't attacked any choke points just yet. They don't have weapons that can really perform at range, except Dennis, who's critically low at this point on health. It's still going to be very difficult here for Fnatic. Hobbit looking to find himself a quick kill here in the main. This would be a really big one to find. And Krims goes down. Now it's just about the 3 players left from Fnatic making their way towards B. It's all on their shoulders.
Retake territory. Oh, Adren, please. The Clutch King with 100 ping, but only good for the 1 kill this time. Flusher is close to the red. JW is with him. Flusher on the low ground, trying to move forward. He'll have Zeus to contend with soon. No grenades left for this Fnatic side. It's all about dueling. Flusher and Hobbit coming through these trains. Flusher though, running distraction now, but Mo will pick him off, and it's JW. He is the last man standing. The Molotov will force him forward. Surely he might get 1 kill here. Hobbit's only got 4 HP. He's defusing without the kit. Mo with the AWP. It should be the other way around. But Hobbit's got 4 HP. Which one defuses? At least the kit's there. But Mo, he's got to deliver here. He's got his pistol out. It is so awkward for him. Is he defusing it? I don't think so. Oh my god, it's too late now. What a way to lose a round. Shooting your teammate in the head through a wall, giving his position away. Everything falls apart. Surely that was Gambit. That has got to be the worst luck.
That is crazy. You wonder if there's maybe like a communication. I mean, it must be a communication problem there. Doja's making the push, and they're shooting his position. So definitely seems like perhaps one, maybe Doja just decided it's like, I'm going to do this play, and maybe didn't communicate it. It's hard to say what it might be, but that, as you say, it could be the one chance that could get Fnatic back into the game. Now they actually have guns, they've got grenades, they're looking for perhaps a fast round straight into the A-bomb site. Olofmeister in typical Olofmeister fashion going straight in, but it's Adren with the first kill to the round as Dennis will fall, and Olofmeister pushes the position, but he gets stopped by Hobbit. Still more work to be done though by Fnatic, as Blusher and JW answer back. A 3v3 and the bomb still needs to go down though.
Get that boost on CTs. 2 AWPs, only so much you can do with so many smokes out on the map. Everything starting to slow down. Fnatic taking it slow, trying to identify where the CTs might be, trying to get their communication game on with some more seconds to take pause. Angles so close. Mo being teased by Flush, but Flush not engaging the angle. The bomb needs to be collected. JW is going for the flank towards the IV position, and that's exactly where Mo is standing. If he stops scoping, Crims must know he's there. Crims is just around the corner. They've got the time to make this play. Fnatic being very, very careful. If they win this round, they break the money of their opponent. If they lose this round, it is game points Fnatic.
No.
He sees the barrel, and there goes Mo. It's Adren with the AWP behind the smoke. He might walk through it for free if he's brave enough. JW playing close to the smoke as well, and it might be a no-scope from him. Fnatic on the comeback. If Gambit go on to lose this map, then surely they just go back to that headshot thing. I mean, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy.
So a chance rears its head here for Fnatic. Gambit humbled perhaps now that they have no money again, and all that momentum sort of goes away. I have to say I've been really impressed with Mo's performance so far. He looks really dangerous at the moment, an assassin with that AWP. And now this should be a pretty calm and easy round for Fnatic. On paper, there's only really a P250 and 4 stock USPs for Fnatic to worry about. So you can see Olofmeister, he realizes that he's got the MAC-10 out. It's a tool fit for purpose in this round. They'll be able to get another frag as well. So just systematic cleanup of these saving players. Fnatic bullying Gambit in this round, but now Gambit can buy again. It's not the best money in the world, but it is enough.
Yeah, they can buy now, and if they lose, they can buy at 14-14. Gambit with 2 chances to stop Fnatic getting to game point. Fnatic 2 rounds behind. It's a Gambit tactical timeout at present. Mo's on the AWP again. There may be a lack of grenades in this round. There'll definitely be a lack of helmets. So, does this, with a pause like this, I do wonder if Fnatic will play it slow, expecting a push. I mean, we've seen some insane pushes from Doja when he's been ill-equipped, and he's ill-equipped once again with a UMP. So they may look for that. They may put 2 or 3 people towards the B bomb site so they can trade if necessary. What will the play of Gambit be? Mo's been everywhere with his AWP. It seems he's headed towards the IV position. Can post up towards main from there as well. So let's see what Gambit have in store for Fnatic.
Fnatic making their way towards Ali at the moment, so will Mo go for the peaks? Of course, there's all kinds of shenanigans. Oh, that is so fast from Mo! And that means so much as well. Hobbits, he's got some action too. Teammate's going to handle that one nicely as Dennis gets shut down, and 20 seconds have passed in the round, and 2 members for Fnatic trying to go for picks. It has blown up in their faces, and now they simply have to combine their forces and go together somewhere. That's pretty much all they can do at this point. They can't risk losing another member to a 1 versus 1. They need to get a situation where the bomb can be planted and where they can trade frags.
Mo with no Kevlar. I wonder if he'll end up swapping places with Adren. Adren's holding the high ground, but he doesn't have a scope, so that's going to make life more difficult for him. He has a look just in case they're creeping down the stairs, and you see him dropping a smoke. That may be a good timing, and Fnatic are going to force the issue moving through. Nobody checking Dozier's position just yet, but surely they will, surely they will. No kill for Dozier with his UMP. The bomb's going to go down, the CT's on the retake. That's a good start for Dren. Olafmeister and Crims remain. Hobbit's coming in from the flank, but he doesn't have the angle. They're making it work, Fnatic, but they're both tagged. 4 of these 5 remaining players are all very close to dying. And there goes Crims, leaving Olafmeister up on the high ground on his own. He won't get it done. It's game point Gambit in the first map of this best of 3.
What a relief for Gambit, not finding themselves in that position where, you know, there's that one mistake and maybe it gets into their heads, maybe it, you know, compounds the problem and things get worse. But again, composed, experienced players, good leadership, and they are playing their hearts out right now. Just one more round and the double AWPs certainly pose problems for Fnatic. And Fnatic, well, you know, they're going to fight fire with fire. They've got 2 AWPs of their own, JW and Dennis picking them up. So looks like Fnatic are going to double down on the picking approach. Let's see how that goes for them, because so far, again, Mo and Dren have been fantastic.
4 AWPs. Oh! Dennis taking gambles there, but we'll come back to that later because there is a 4-man engagement towards the IV position, and the advantages will go straight back in favor of Fnatic. 1 minute 35 on the clock, and there are 3 CTs here. They are on the verge of being reset. That would be a complete disaster for them.
What on earth is happening there, the AWP battles? You can see why both teams are buying all those AWPs, and Olafmeister now looking to try and make things worse, but it's Zeus who wins such an important 1 versus 1, and this is what we talk about when we talk about Fnatic. They really love to take these 1v1s, and it can really send things spiraling out of control for your defense, but Gambit standing up strong so far against the oppressive side that is Fnatic, and the bomb can be planted, and Dozier's position is very good at the moment with a silenced M4. Perhaps he can get the drop on somebody. It might just be Flusher. He's creeping below him. Does Dozier look around? This is such an important moment. Flusher now spraying onto Dozier's teammates. Dozier turns around, gets the kill in the trade, but that opens him up to Crims. The worst has happened now. Leaves it all to a Dren in a 1 versus 2.
They've got the high ground, the T's. They've got the high ground, and Dren may not fancy this one. How does he not get traded? He'll hear the bullets whizzing past his ears. And Fnatic have stayed alive. 13 rounds coming their way, and the money's not spectacular for Gambit, so they are in a very awkward spot. But going back to that first frag in the rounds, the CTs always get to connector to look towards main before the T's get to main to look towards connector. It is not an advantageous peak for the T's. It is a gamble that didn't pay off for Dennis on that occasion. Maybe expecting Mo to be around the IV position of the AWP, but Dren was at connector with a sniper of his own, and that's a sniper that remains in this round. 13-15, Gambit, they can't really buy. It would be a massive gamble for the side. The money next round would be great either, so Dren, I mean, because it's an AWP, you could go give it to Mo with no Kevlar, but he will stay with it and do what he can.
And Dren's going into a poor position with that AWP. That's very scary stuff, isn't it? The push comes in from Fnatic, and oh wow, Zeus! He prevents the bomb from going down. Dren has been lost though. Nice transfer there from Olafmeister, and there was some shenanigans at play, but Fnatic have diffused them in more ways than one, and we'll see themselves brought onto the 14th round. And are they actually going to do this? Are we going to get the first map of the day here in the playoffs be overtime?
Would you have it any other way?
No. I would not, James. Let's bring it on.
Second last timeout for Gambit. And they're going to have to drastically change their approach in this round. Dren has gone from an AWP to a Mag-7. Quite opposite ranges on those weapons, so one would expect him to go towards the ladder position. Or maybe even a play towards main with a flashbang, but there are almost no grenades on this CT side. It's a very desperate time for Gambit. Dren's got a good spawn to make it to ladder room as well, to the pop dog. But Fnatic, they are fully equipped. They are ready for this overtime. They will feel like they deserve this overtime. JW close to the 30 bomb, 26 kills at the moment, leading the server.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if how Gambit could possibly make this work. with this amalgam of guns. Adren. Oh my god, it's Mo. It was Mo. Calm down, everyone. It was Mo with the headshot there, but nice little assist there from Adren with that Mag 7 of his. And Dennis just so brazen. Yep, I'm just going to walk out here. Don't mind me, but Gambit are going to shut that down. And it looks like Fnatic, they might just try to end this here on the B-bomb side. They're all rallying up and readying the charge.
They've had a lot of success there. Has not been a spectacular day for Dozier on the B-bomb site, but now he's finally got an M4. He can start things off well. Got support from the high ground as well, but that support has gone, doing some damage, but no frags. Mo coming on a fast 2K. Is this it? JW on his own, 1 versus 3 to keep his team in this first map of this best of 3. The bomb is down on the high ground. He's exposed. He is forced into the open. There are Molotovs to be thrown here by the CT side as well, but they will allow him to collect. Hobbit trying to find a funky angle, can't quite do it. Nobody's close enough to hit the scope. JW will escape with the bomb for now. He has 40 seconds. He's got to guess. Is he better off towards B or better off towards A? There are no eyes on Popdog at the moment, but Adren is making his way there.
Gambit playing this so smart. They understand the timing as well. They understand exactly how JW might move around the map. As we can see, Adren making his way towards teammates. JW going for the double back, and there you go. Gambit make it work. 16-14, one key error, and it could all have been over, but they composed themselves, and they are indeed making that stage look very good here today.
Crisis averted for Gambit. One of the most unusual things I have seen, the headshotting your teammate when he's on the flank through a wall, when he's above 2 Ts, could have been a turning point, could have been psychologically crushing, but no.